Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Say Something by the 20-something. I am Miriam.
It's Abby.
And we have some exciting guests for today's pod. This is an iconic duo, I just have to say. And, I'll just let you guys introduce yourselves, and then we'll get started.
Alrighty, well, I'm Joycelyn. And
My name is Radhika.
yeah, and we are the co-founders of SWRK.
I'm excited to talk about SWRK. And, well, first of all, for the people who don't know, I know Joycelyn, she's been on the podcast before, and she's talked a little bit about this, collaboration and this collective that she's doing. But since you guys are both here together, do you mind just doing, a little elevator pitch about what SWRK is?
Take it away.
You want me to take it away? Okay. Well, SWRK is an all-female-led collective that we started last year. We're actually coming up on a year this coming March. And basically, we're very intentional with what we do in putting on music-centered events and just doing them both in DC and also internationally. So we also recently just did Ghana as well. And we're all about just elevating niche sounds in music and things like that. And also women in the creative scene within music also.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well said, well said.
Yeah, and I feel like last year around this time, we were just really thinking about what the city needs, specifically just being in DC for the last 4 years, and Joy being in Boston. That distance has just been interesting for both of us, but we were just constantly exposed to different things. And so when we came together and just started putting our heads together, we're like, yo, DC doesn't really have a space for women to really thrive. I feel like women are doing really dope things, but we just wanted to create a collective where we can create a really huge platform for women creatives from every different walk of life.
Yeah.
And so it's been really cool just navigating the space and figuring out I don't know, how to connect with more women because it's just been really cool.
I feel like there's so many dope people, specifically women in the city. And I feel like you guys have done a great job already of exposing them, because there's so many people that I've never heard of that you guys kind of shine a light on. And we'll talk more about that. But I wanted to first start off by asking, where did the name SWRK come from?
So I have my own platform, Groundwork, and then Radhika also has her own called Swank Selects. And in 2019, I believe, or towards the end of 2019, we were I had been making playlists, and we were we should just do a joint playlist together that just was really representative, honestly, of what SWRK is now musically and kind of our tastes. And so that playlist was titled SWRK. And so when we met up last year and we were kind of no, we actually really want to do this, we were okay, well, what do we call ourselves? And I was why not just SWRK? That's just the perfect immersion of both of our brands. So
yeah, and I feel like you explained it. You got it.
Well, quick plug to Groundwork, because they collaborated with 20-something. So Joy collaborated with us, and she created a playlist for each member of 20-something. So please go check out our Instagram. And I think the link to all the playlists will be on our Instagram. But
first and foremost, I'm starstruck. I would like to say.
Stop.
No, but seriously, I am just so happy right now because Radhika and Joy, I love y'all so much. And you both are doing such amazing things. The first 5 seconds of this podcast, you already heard what SWRK was about, and it's amazing. So I really want to dive into what has the reception been? I mean, first and foremost, actually, talk about, they had an event last night, Digital Disco. Let's talk about it.
Yes.
How did it go? And then I also want that to kind of segue into what has the reception been? Have women been oh my God, thank you so much for having this. I know you guys put on a lot of female DJs, all of that. We're going to get into all of that. But first and foremost, how did Digital Disco go? And we can go from there.
Well, I feel like it was beautiful. I feel like we just stepped into a whole nother level with that event, and we decided to collaborate with a DJ duo or DJ trio group here in DC, named Members Only. At Members
shout out
Only
our brothers.
DC. Those are all our bros. Tim Fields, Spinrello, and Corey. They're all very, very talented. And we just kind of came to them and we're like, we really want to create like a dance party that's just like next level and like futuristic, and try to figure out how we can bring like technology into it. So we're just flirting with all these like interesting ideas, and we're like, you know what, digital disco, like why don't we just see what we can do with this, because disco music is so fun. And like as you could see last night, like it was just very diverse, and that's just like what we've really been like as SWRK and Members Only. We just really strive to like create a very diverse like environment for people that attend our events. They just like, we want them to like come to our event and just like feel safe,
exactly,
and like, feel seen, and like enjoy themselves and be authentically themselves. So I just feel like we were able to achieve all of those things last night, and it was really nice.
No, exactly. And I think just to add to that, like even just looking at the history of like what disco is and how it's like emerged, it was very much like an underground scene that blew up. And I think especially now, since there's like a resurgence of like dance music and like disco influenced music, we're like, who is doing that in the city? Like no one. And I mean, that's kind of where we always want to be, is like right at the forefront of these like niche sounds and things that are coming up or coming back up into the popular scene, which is what led us to start this and to start with Love in a Mapiano last year, which was our first event.
I'm an Amal piano fiend, so you know.
Well, I just want to say, because I was at Digital Disco yesterday, and just being like, you know, just like a party goer, not really a part of like the planning process, and like just being there and enjoying myself. Like I have to say, you guys definitely achieved like the goals that you were striving for, because it was really fun. And when you're talking about like safe, I feel like everyone was like dancing, and like they didn't really care about like, you know, being like posh or whatever. Like they were really just like enjoying themselves. And even the event, like not the event, the venue, and like the lights, and like who created that disco,
the disco wall.
Yeah.
Shout out our member, Avita. One of our team members, Avita, that was all her. So she made it for the first Digital Disco, and that was an effort. It's not easy to put those things together. So hard. Yeah, so hard.
Her efforts definitely appreciated. Like that was the first thing that you like saw when you walked in. I was like, oh, this is so cute.
No, it actually worked out perfectly, because beforehand we were gonna put that in a totally different spot, but then the stand we had broke on us, and so we just like, one of the security guards there was like, oh, why don't you just like put it up over the other side? So and it worked out, because then that way, as you said, as soon as you walk in, like that's the first thing you see, and then it just adds to the whole like ambiance and environment, I felt.
But like even the way like Joy's explaining this, like this is like the mental Olympics.
No, seriously.
like going into an event and into a space where like, yo, like the flow of this venue needs to make sense in order for us to, I'm just so like, but yeah, like we're just like, the flow of this venue needs to make sense, where it's like from the minute like someone walks into the event, like all the way to like, you know, the DJ booth or the bar or whatever, like we really want them to like understand the essence of the event, and like for it to make sense for them. So it's like, you know, you come into the event and you see our like photo wall, so you're like, oh, let me go take a picture, or like, let me go put my jacket over here. Or another touch that I had like thought of was, I was like, why don't we live stream this event? We're trying to be digital disco, so let's live stream it. And shout out Alex or Spinrillo, he tapped in with MDM Collective, or MDM.
Yep,
MDM Collective. And they basically just do like all videography, live streaming, things like that. Like that's like their lane. And so we tapped in with them, and then they live streamed the event on Twitch. And then I was like, yo, like we have this huge wall, why don't we live stream it and then project it on this wall, so then like people who can't be by the DJ booth, who are like on the first floor,
can still
like, see everything
and still feel like involved in the space. So
I hope you guys like thoroughly like enjoyed yourselves. I know you were still thinking like you were aware of everything that was going on in terms of like the DJ and the sound and like the vibe, and are people like, are they having fun? How is it like hosting events for you guys? I know you were saying like Mental Olympics, and also
we're definitely perfectionists.
Yes.
Yeah, we're definitely perfectionists. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we are perfectionists. And so I think like for instance, yesterday you were asking me a question and I was like, like, I don't know if this girl's going to answer this honestly or if I should wait until like the next day so I can just like fully absorb it, think about it, because in the moment, I can tell you everything that's wrong. Like, I can tell you everything that should have been better, or like this should have been slightly pushed that way. But again, that's just, I think, us being perfectionists. Yeah. And so like in the moment, you're just like, is everyone having fun? Like, is this going how it's supposed to? Who's doing that? Who's doing this? This person didn't do that. So it's just like all those like little teeny tiny things that you're like, we just want to make sure that it's smooth and seamless. And it's funny because I'm sure as a party girl, you're not unless it's the sound, but like outside of that, you're not noticing what's going on. You're just like, oh, this is bomb, I'm having fun, whatever. Meanwhile, we're just like all these mental Olympics for sure. But then I feel like it's fun, like it's definitely rewarding. And I mean, I'm sure like each and every single person, like all of us who are on the planning team, we all probably only got positive compliments from everyone we were talking to. Like so many people were like, this was so amazing, like thank you for putting this together.
It
and
was
we're just
so
like,
fun. It was cute. I was like, yo, we're kind of cute, right? Like,
not kinda. They are, yes. Everything and more. Thank you.
oh, thank you.
That just made my heart warm.
Oh. So yeah, that just segues right into like kind of what Miriam was also kind of talking about a little bit, like the reception as a party goer. You're not really focused on all of that. Yeah. So you may think that, oh, this could have been better, but somebody had the time of their life. So like, what has the reception been? Because loving a Mapiano, I missed the first one. And I was fighting joy through the texting. I was very upset. But the second one, girl. It's true. It's true. But the second one, oh my gosh, had the time of my life.
Oh,
I was on the couch.
standing on the couch.
Standing on the couch. Wow.
I might insert it. I don't know. But I was standing on the couch.
You should insert clip here.
I was having a time. But yeah, what has the reception been? I know I've personally loved it. It's and like you guys really talked about how meticulous you are and how like you set everything up with intentionality, and that's what really makes a great event. So people aren't just standing on the wall looking at each other, because that's the day and age we're in right now. And so the fact that people are actually enjoying themselves, it's just, I feel like we talked about this, like how going to an event, we went to I think I talked about it on the pod once. The Twin DJs.
Oh, Major League DJs.
Major League. How can I forget? What is that? But me and Joy were actually dancing and enjoying ourselves, and people were doing that. So you guys also have cultivated that environment with SWRK. So yeah, the reception, how has that been?
It's been crazy. It's
really
honestly been really crazy, because our first event, we were just like, oh my gosh, what should we do? Like, let's just throw like together in a Mapiano event. And I was just inspired by like all of Joy's stories from Ghana from the previous year.
Honestly, like, Ghana is good. Shout out to Ghana fans. Like, we love y'all. But yeah, no, it's just like slightly segueing off that, and I'll throw it back to you. Yeah, so I went to Ghana, December 2021. And that was my first time going back in like years. And of course, like the Amapiano wave was like, it's been a thing for a very long time, and it's evolved. And we've been hip to it since, we've been hip to it since 2019. But the sound has changed, and it's become a lot more like upbeat. Because before it's like a little bit more jazzy, more calm. But, that Major League, that was what I was watching back then. And I was like, yo, I can't wait to go to Ghana. It's going to be so much fun. And then I went, and it was like, yo, this is actually a ton of fun. But it was insane, because it was like you go to parties that are just going on nonstop, and people are just dancing, having so much fun, doing whatever. And I was like, I want to do that here, because especially coming out of the pandemic, I just felt like there were a lot of spots in DC that were gone and no longer here. So it was like, what do we do? How do we bring back something that will make people be like, yeah, like, we're not just outside, but we also want to have a good time and not do the whole, like, we're in a club standing on the wall, like, not really engaging. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, and like we just like really sat and thought about it, and she was like showing me balcony mixes, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so fun. I just put on my TV and I'm just like dancing in my living room.
Same.
And I was like,
Yes,
do this.
those balcony mixes are so fire.
They're so
They're
live.
so fire.
Like what? But yeah, and then we were just like, why don't we just throw our first event? There was just like a lot of ups and downs with that, you know. But I think it was very interesting to see the reception of the event, because leading up to it, the venue that we were working with, I'm not going to name any names, the business owners were like, who are you? They were like, you guys have 100 followers, like who are you? Why are you guys trying to do a party here?
Yeah.
And we were like, we have 400 RSVPs. They were like,
Yeah.
what? Like 400?
Wow.
And then we were like, yeah, like we have 400. They're like, how did you do that? We're like, what do you mean? Like what?
We
Like
had a marketing
what?
plan.
Yeah, we had a plan. Like, what are you talking about? And so they were like, yeah, just like see if you can like get 200 more people to like RSVP, like open it up. Because at first they were like, we had found out that the capacity was 400 people. So we're like, okay, yeah, like we'll open it up. Like we don't know who will actually come. We're just me and her, just like we're winging this. Like
yeah, it was
it's
a huge risk.
it was a huge risk. We put so much money into it. We're just like sitting there like, well, like if this doesn't work out, we don't know, you know, what to do. But it was very interesting because we open up our RSVPs back up. It sells out within like less than 24 hours.
We sold out twice.
Sold out twice.
Yes.
And even though it was a free event,
hit that. Period.
even though it was a free event, people pulled up on us deep on a U Street on a holiday weekend. People pulled up on us. The joint had like a block long line.
We shut the venue down.
We literally shut
closed
it down.
early. We had to shut the party down
They
early.
were like, the
weren't
business
ready.
owners were looking at us like, yo, like who are you?
Exactly.
What
Who are you? Are you alien? Like,
like what? Like what happened here?
Exactly.
But like it was just, I think something that Joy and I have been really reflecting on is just like how cool it is that like we're on U Street where there's normally like hip hop playing or Afro beats or things like that, but like people in DC did not know Amapiano then. So 600 plus people pulled up on us and we're blasting Amapiano like all
It's not like
through
it
the
switched.
venue.
That was the only sound that night. Maybe a
Loving
sprinkle of
Amapiano.
Afro beats, but it was a
Period.
Amapiano
It was
down.
all Amapiano.
Yeah.
Love that.
And people were just
People
like, yo, what
loved
is
it.
this?
They were like, this oh, sorry.
no, you're good. You're good. You're good. I'm gonna cut it out.
But anyway, to finish that up, like I think the reception has been really great.
Yeah.
We also shout out all our friends, our family, because the way all of our peoples have been like really just like supporting us.
Yeah. No,
we're
seriously.
just so touched.
The love has been unreal. Because I think even to make Ghana happen within our first year, like that was another huge risk.
That is.
And yeah, just to still see like the love, like people from here helping us out and people over there who were just so willing to work with us. Like that was just very insane, just to like make all those connections. And literally everyone we've worked with, whether things have gone, nothing has ever gone completely right, but like regardless of that, like especially of women that we worked with, I feel like most of the time, like we always walk away being like, we want to work with you again, and they're like definitely down. Or party goers are like, yo, this was amazing, like I had such a good time. Like I've never heard a negative comment from anyone as far as like the reception. So
Yes, love that. And I have one more question. I'm gonna pass it over to Mare. Stuff like this, obviously, you guys mentioned, is a really big risk. So what words of encouragement do you have for people that are trying to like step out on faith and do something like a podcast? Or I mean, what you all do is really unique. So I mean, if you can just inspire people to step out and share whatever music they want to share, whether it's alternative, rock, whatever the case may be. So some words of encouragement for those people, those women, men too. We're all inclusive here, but women. It's Women's Month. Yeah.
Do you want me to go first? Or you want I would say Honestly, I think just being intentional. I think being intentional and then understanding that you just have to be willing to take the risk, like even as scary as it is. Because I mean, I feel like all we've done is taken risks. Every event we've done has been a risk. It's been, and I mean, it's not like it's a risk in a sense of like it's time, it's energy, it's money. Like we're trying to pay people fairly and all of that. And so I think just being willing to bet on yourself and invest in yourself is probably the big thing. And it's hard. Imposter syndrome is very, very real. There are plenty of times where I'm like, I don't want to do this, or like, how did we get here? Or like, why are we doing? But then I think like in conversations like these, or like when I talk to other people, or like when we talk, we're just like, yo, we know this is needed, and we see that, and it's reflected in all the people that we've been able to connect with. And when we talk to people about what we're doing, they're like, absolute. Like it's always been like, yes, we want to work with you, or see how we can work with you. So yeah, so just keep going. Like if you know you have something, just, you know, cultivate that and realize that if you have community, like your community will pull up on you, because our community has been the only reason that we've made it this far.
I was actually going to say that, like, community has just been like such a big part of all of this.
Yeah.
And like also just like investing time with your community and supporting them. I just feel like it's a cycle. It's like you support them, they come and support you. And even if it's a very niche idea or like whatever you're trying to do, I just feel like I can really vouch for the power of community.
Yeah.
In this last year. Yeah.
100%.
I feel like so many of us we want to see you win. So we're just like, we're all just I'm rooting for you. Thank you for giving me a reason to leave my house. Like I really appreciate it. But like, yeah, it's been great, and it's been like less than a year, and you guys, I feel like you guys have done so much, and you guys have gone international too.
Yeah.
Being in Ghana, can you talk a little bit more about like that whole planning process?
Woo. Yeah, that was not easy, but I mean, it's what we wanted to do, like that. So we want to go to other places as well. But I think, you know, me being Ghanaian, it made it easy because of course, like I had people there that I could talk to and who were able to help in fostering certain connections and things. But honestly, the biggest thing I think in all of this and how we've been able to navigate is networking. And so really, truly, like making Ghana work was networking, because most of the people that we worked with, I didn't physically meet until I was there. And when I was there, we had 1 week until the actual event. So it was a bunch of like phone conversations, DMing back and forth with people, reaching out to being like, hey, this is who I am. This is what we're about. So we're trying to do. Are you down? And like 95% of the time people are like, yes, like I would love to. What can I do? How can I help? It's definitely a very different landscape in terms of understanding like how to market there. Like there's, you know, of course, differences, there's cultural differences, and Ghana definitely is very much a place that doesn't operate like the US in terms of how like business is done or how you have to market to people. So it was definitely very interesting trying to figure that out, because we had a formula that worked here and we couldn't do the same thing over there. So that was like a challenge we had to figure out was, okay, like how do we market in Ghana, in a place that we haven't stepped foot in, like we haven't done an event there. It's not like we have strong community there. So it was really like just trying to talk to people and pitch them this idea of what we had, and people liked it and they showed up and they pulled through. So
Yeah, I feel like we were very blessed.
yeah,
Because people were so receptive to it. And then also I feel like we had to kind of get creative with it. Like Joy, shout out Joy, she did so much networking. She found media partners. She was like, oh, why don't we just like go to this radio station and like I don't know, like let's see if I can do an interview, or you know, because marketing, I feel like from what I've also learned, it's like it's not just social media. Like the social media marketing has taken over marketing and advertising, but like, you know, there's word of mouth, there's radio stations. I just feel like there's so many different levels to it. And so we were just like really sitting there and thinking like, what are the fundamental ways to like market and like expand in a place that you've never been to. And it was very interesting. We had to brainstorm a lot. And honestly, the craziest thing was we were on Snapchat. We literally found an influencer on Snapchat. He was like, yeah, I'm posting your event every day on Snapchat. We're like, Twitter, like we were even like, should we type it on Facebook? Like we don't even use this. Like what? How do we do that? And it was interesting because I felt like people like, even on Instagram, we like were running ads. We got so many likes. Like people were just like, oh my God, this looks cool. Like I want to come. So it was interesting.
Yeah.
Aw, I love that. I wanted to ask you guys, because I know you guys were friends before you started this whole like collective. How has it been, like basically being like business partners and still trying to make sure your friendship is intact?
Established, first of all, 2015.
Yeah.
2015.
Yeah. Damn.
It's been a long, woo, it's been a long
crazy.
time.
Yeah.
Wow. It's actually kind of crazy because Joy and I have always had this connection. Every time we would talk in school, we weren't as close in school, but every time we talk, we like, I have this idea, and she's like, yeah, that's so cool. Like I have this idea, and literally I remember we were on our way to a Travis Scott concert at VCU.
Epic concert. Epic night.
Insane.
That was so much fun.
It literally, like we were holding Travis Scott.
No, straight up.
Like literally,
straight up.
it was wild because he was like crowd surfing.
Yeah.
But on our way, that was like a highlight of our friendship, like early in our friendship. We're just talking about everything we've ever wanted to do creatively. And we're like, yo, like that's so cool. Like what? We're just gassing each other up. And I was just like, wow, like I really feel like just so like close to you, even though we were just starting to get close. And then we always talked about this idea of like starting a girl DJ group or like things like that. So we were talking about this long ago.
Years ago.
Yeah. And so, but like, as we've been working together, I feel like we do have a lot of check-ins. Like, yo, are you okay? Like, do you need a break? Do you need some time to like take care of yourself? And like, I feel like we're maybe still trying to figure out like how to divide the business from the friendship. But it takes time.
It does take time. And I mean, because it's like we're also growing business-wise together, and that's a whole new thing to figure out is, okay, like how do we navigate like finances and things and keeping track of that we haven't had to deal with before. So it's like making time to do all of those little like nitty-gritty things, but then also at the same time making sure like, hey, like what's going on in your life? Like, are you good? How are things? And I mean, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. We've definitely had times where we've been like, hey, you know, like, I think we need to talk about this, or like, I wasn't happy with that. And like, those are not easy conversations, but I think we have a relationship where we create the space for that. Yeah. So then we can address it and talk about it calmly and like get all our feelings out, and then just kind of be like, hey, okay, but now we can move on from this.
Yeah. We're pretty similar in that way too, where it's just like, something's bothering you, something's bothering me. We're like, let's just chat, you know, like, let's just talk about it, you know. It's always coming from a place of love and intention, I feel like. So yeah.
I feel like that's something that we do too. I think the mental check-ins is really important because I feel like, especially there's 3 of you guys, right?
Yes.
Right. So like in terms of like there being, I know you guys are like probably similar, but like different personalities, I feel like it's really important, you know, to do those mental check-ins and be like, how do you feel about this, instead of just going ahead and just doing stuff without really talking about it.
Absolutely.
Well, now that you guys are almost a year in, what are some what are some like lessons that you've learned that you know that you probably won't do again now that you've done like several events?
Work with men. No.
Yeah.
I just want them to come correct for real. But
Yeah. Actually, we can talk about
Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, I know we mentioned we're all inclusive, you know. 60% of our listeners are actually men. It's really crazy. Miriam didn't know that, but girl, they be listening. But yeah, can you like talk about that? And I feel like it could be like low-key a learning moment, teachable moment, educate these people on 1, what you go through, and 2, how they can better themselves and not like be cognizant of these interactions, be cognizant of the impact on our women, and like how to move forward.
Well, I guess I'll just start off by saying I feel like a couple years ago, I had noticed that in the city, people were just saying that like they're just getting into like weird, like really scary and weird situations with men. And I've just always felt this like predatorial energy, not just in DC, but just anywhere you go, anyone you work with.
Yeah.
I've been going to shows since I was like 15 years old, and I'm like, even in those spaces, like I would have like men just approach me like, yo, like want to hang out after this, or like, you know what I mean? Just like, I'm just trying to talk music, and here you are trying to do something else. So it's like something that, you know, as we've grown up, we're just used to men always going smack, and we're baddies. We get it. But but like there does come a point where it's tired. Like it's just like it's a lot to deal with, because you're just authentically trying to be yourself, put yourself out there, try to explore new opportunities, network. And you sometimes, like, I think it's kind of crazy because I sit here, or like I'll after a call or after like engaging with someone, I'm like, are they talking to me because they think what I'm talking about is cool, or are they talking to me because they're trying to like take me out, or like get involved with me romantically? And you're just like, you just never really know. And it is a question that's like been on my mind, because I don't know how realistic the statistic is, but I feel like 50% of the time it's like the latter. They're just trying to go smack because they think you're cool.
I think it's even more than that, for real. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the times, like, because literally as Radhika is saying, like, it's a male-dominated industry, so like any other thing that's male-dominated, like, you know, the misogyny is going to be a part of it. And I mean, historically, like, we know the music industry is just notorious for being that way, for taking advantage of women in more ways than one. So, I mean, that was, again, the intention behind starting SWRK. So then we can create that community and network of women creatives to be like, yo, like, let's work together. So then that way, like, we know it's just going to be business. It's not going to be anything funny. Like, even if you do think I'm cute, you're not going to, like, approach me in that kind of way.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, every conversation with the man, I'm always like, is he gonna try, or does he like literally? I've been like invited to things, and then after the fact, have realized, oh, like
there was a reason.
There was a reason. He was definitely trying to run game or run smack, or someone being like so optimistic to like hit you up and work with you. And once that happens, I'm just like why? Like, I'm gonna keep this relationship going, but like in the back of your mind, you're just like, I don't know.
It puts us in weird positions too, because you're just like, also sometimes it's a mental Olympics again, because you're just sitting there and you're like, if I give this man a little more energy, then maybe he'll stay motivated to work with me.
Oh my God.
And it feels strange. It feels like a weird energy. But when working with women, it's like doing business with women is so simple.
So simple.
Like, it's just like straight to the point. This is what I want. This is what you can offer me. This is what I can pay you. Done.
I also think like the sad part is like both of you are speaking like you genuinely want to work with these people. And they're coming on some other. So if we could just all just genuinely want to work with each other on strictly a business standpoint, imagine how much like this can really flourish. And we don't have to go through all of that nonsense. You know what I mean?
And I think what gets even more annoying is that because of that, I think that also makes it difficult to do things when it's all women, because like just the support isn't there. And I'm sure it's because they probably tried to work with someone, and then that someone has clout or has the connections, and then if something goes left, then now you don't want to work with that person, or they don't want to work with you. And that can be like a huge bag, or like just a huge like community that they're tapped into that now won't support you or won't come through to something you're doing just because of that fact. And so I feel like it makes it very like limiting. And as you said, sometimes you're like, dang, should I just like flirt with this guy so then I can get what I want? No, straight up. There are times where I'm like, okay, like you
I
know,
bat my eyes a little more.
no, bat my eyes a little bit more. Make sure, you know, the girls look good because like we don't know. And it's so unfortunate that like that even is a thought that's coming up in my mind. Because when I look at guys do business with each other, it's just like, hey, bro, I look for you and blah, blah. So simple, so easy. Like, they don't even do, like, we're coming at it so formalized. Like, hey, this is the date, this is the time, this is our, like, everything to a T. Can we sign a contract? Can we send an email? And then he's still just like, but yo, like, I'm trying to take you out. And you're just like, bro. Like,
I'm like, where did I show that there was space for this?
Right.
You know? It's,
Okay,
like,
hold
insane.
on. I don't know why this is just now occurring to me. So that is, you're coming from a business perspective.
yes.
And that early on, they're coming at that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize it was that early on.
Yes.
It's just like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, you will email them, you'll message them, and I've noticed that most of the time, men come correct when you're working with and have another man
on your team
that even
that's
just
backing
knows
you
that
up.
man
Yeah.
a little bit, like that person you're trying to work with. If they know them just by like a little bit,
They'll
There
cut
won't-
some of that.
that funny business, like any of that stuff, they won't pull it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they're
Or
like,
they'll
oh.
they'll still try to pull it, but they'll think about it twice at least.
Yeah, they'll think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, you both mentioned the male trio that you worked with
Mm-hmm.
yesterday.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm assuming, because you guys mentioned that it was a positive experience.
Mm-hmm.
So in contrast, like, what is it like working with men that are actually like here to support the overall mission of providing a very wonderful experience for
Yeah.
people and supporting you guys at the same time?
It's been amazing. I
Yeah.
would like to speak to it because in this last year of like starting SWRK and
Yeah.
like really stepping into this like creative zone, I like found my bestie. Like
Yeah. Shout out
Spinrillo.
Spin.
Spinrillo, that's
Shout out Spinrillo. I don't know that man, but
that's my guy. Like
Yeah.
he literally is my
We love
best
Spin.
friend. He like we just like get each other, and I just like when I talk to him and when I was talking to him about SWRK in the earlier stages, I was like, yo, I'm tired of these men, these horny men. Like they're just so gross. And he's
No,
like, yo,
straight
like
up,
but like
straight
for
up.
real, like he just clowns all of them, which is so great because we're just like sitting there clowning people like, yo, like who is he? Why is he coming at me like that?
And I will say he also will like back that up in public, like to these men's faces.
ooh, thank you for pointing that out,
Yeah.
because sometimes people will say things in
Mhm.
private
And
conversation
they're not
and
about
then
it.
in
He's
public
about it.
they're just like, oh, that's what happened? I didn't even realize that's what was going on. I would have backed you. Well,
No.
Yeah.
Or saying like what you want to hear.
Yeah. No, he tells it how it is. Like,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's important to have someone like that on your team, especially when you're all women trying to navigate with all male business owners that don't want to work with you or don't take you seriously. It's like, I have a business degree, sir. Like, I literally have a business
period
degree.
business yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Business degree. I have multiple degrees.
Oh, she got wait.
Go ahead.
She got multiple
I
degrees.
have two.
She be in the lab. Listen to
Hello.
shameless plug. Listen to the groundwork behind balancing passion and
Your career.
your career. Yes.
Mhm.
You know the one. You'll see groundwork and then click that one and you'll listen to Joy and her multiple talents. But continue.
Where was I? ADHD. I was just saying, so yeah, no, it's been amazing. It's
Yeah.
been so amazing because I feel like he just really understands our mission. And he's like also shown me that like there are men who just like really just want to see women thrive in
Yes.
these spaces.
Exactly.
And they're like,
Yes.
yo, like you're dope. I like your mind. Like I just like how you think. And just keep it there, you
Yeah.
know? Like and like we just like elevate each other. It's just like, hey, I want to do this, or hey, like we can just come to each other with like ideas and just be like, okay, how can I help you?
Yeah.
Or how can you? He's like helped us by like plugging us into venues and things like that. 'Cause
Yeah.
Exactly.
starting off was like very rocky for us. We were like trying to find venues. I keep touching your foot.
You're fine.
We were trying to find venues and like no one wanted to like let us in because they were like, who are you? Where are you coming
Yeah.
from?
Yeah.
Da, da, da. So you have to play the game right.
Yeah.
And so going through our friend, he was like, yeah, like I'll just plug you here, or I'll just get you in contact with this person. And it's not in a space of like, you need to now do this for me,
Yes.
because
Yeah,
he
yeah,
knows that this is what building a community is like.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad that we talked about this, because I just feel like people nowadays feel like you have to be on one side or the other. Either you have to,
Yeah.
I don't know, abolish your manhood and be,
Right.
or like be a menace to society. And it's just like, just build community. Just be our genuine friend. Just be our genuine support. It's really not that deep.
and don't be a weirdo.
Don't be a
Very
weirdo.
simply put, don't be strange. Like,
It's not difficult.
I mean, I know some people are a little socially awkward, but listen, believe it or
But
not,
look.
a lot of us are very socially
No, we all
awkward. Just don't be weird. Like, and we
Yes.
y'all know what we mean
Yes.
by weird.
Mhm.
We've discussed what
Yes.
weird looks like.
Exactly.
We 100%.
And I also wanted to speak to the fact of like, the fact that your first event, those people were like, "Who are you? You only have 100 followers on." Listen, I really want you guys to talk about like the tenacity that is required to do something like this, because it's very easy to get discouraged when somebody's like, "Who are you? You don't have listen, followers don't matter. There are people producing high quality music, high quality videos, like very quality content, and they only have 100 followers, 50 followers.
Yeah.
So can you speak to that a little bit? Like, how do you stay encouraged when it's very easy to get discouraged, because people are prioritizing social media and how many followers you have as opposed to the quality of what you're producing?
I think it's just kind of knowing what we're about, and I think the big thing is knowing how to talk about what you're doing, because definitely have learned that it's all about negotiation, right? Like, it's all about how you pitch yourself. It's all about how like you can let people see like this is feasible, and then playing the numbers game. And so like if you can create, if you can back it up with numbers, even if it is a little bit of an illusion, like it's still everything is an illusion. Like, because let's be real, like as you're saying, like social media, like sure, it can be great, but it doesn't always speak to just the caliber of work that someone is doing. And so I think like a way to kind of stay encouraged is just knowing that like we have something, like believing in our vision, really believing in our vision, and knowing that we have something that's unique and special. And that there's so many different ways that we can explore the things that we want to explore, and just kind of like, I think like selling that idea to people that like we've shown that it's feasible. Like we have the show Improve already, but even before we had the show Improve, like we had the ticket like sale numbers to show that, hey, yeah, we may have 100 followers, but like we were able to convince 400 people to at least say, I'm going to try to come to this. And then we had over 600 people that actual day. So yeah, go ahead.
Just wanted to say that after that event had ended, those business owners took us to their basement, wherever they took us to their basement and just like recap the event, and they were like, "So you're coming back every month? Like,
yeah,
we're just like every month. Are we running this back every month? Like, can you guys start doing this more?" We're like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
But I thought I only had 100 followers.
Right. But I mean, I say all that to say, just I think believing in the vision you have, and then also surrounding yourself with people who also see that and can also like, when you're talking about, okay, like these might be the areas where I think like this didn't go well, but having someone who can kind of be like, yeah, okay, like I see what you're saying, but from my perspective, from a party ghost perspective, X, Y, and Z looks good, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, shout out our friend Lowell, who's also a guy. Like, he's been so encouraging. And, we used to work together because we used to have like a different music organization. So he also understands like the nitty gritty of like how it is to navigate in the city. And it was the second event, wasn't it? That we were just like, we were blown about something. And he just looked at us and he was like, no, no. He's like, literally everyone here is having a great time. He was like, I had more fun this time than the first one. And I think that just like level set expectation for myself to be like, okay, let's take a step back and realize that we're doing something that's actually important and resonates with people. And that was the whole intention of why we wanted to do it. So like always coming back to that main goal or main source, because as I said, there are definitely times where it's like, I don't want to do this. I'm tired. I have this going on. I have that going on. Like there's regular life is still happening. Like we have 9 to 5s. We're both in STEM, so it's not like we're working crazy hours. So it's like, and this is like a full-time job, straight up. It is like a full-time job. We're working two jobs.
One job funds the other job.
Straight up, because it's not like we're, honestly, we're not making like a whole bunch of bread or anything. Like we're doing this because we love it,
Yeah.
We hope and pray we'll get there one day, but.
That was always the motive for us, because on top of all of that, Joy and I are just nerds. Like we're so nerdy when it comes to music. We've always been that way. We're just like, yo, did you see this in the UK? Like, look at this
international.
Oh yes.
That's where we've been at since like 2018. We're like, but anyway, I just feel like we're just like, this is so cool and that's so cool. And what if we did this or what if we did that? And honestly, I just feel like the satisfaction we receive when we're like, this is just so dope, and we need to bring this to the DMV. Like, I don't know, I just feel like we're just very passionate about that. And like growing up in the DMV and knowing the different spaces that currently exist here, we're just like, yo, we can occupy space too. We can like curate something dope, have people pull up and just show them a good time. Like why it can also just be that simple.
It really can.
I don't know, the aftermath of every event, we're just like, wow, like that was so great. Like I had so much fun. Like our first digital disco was on Halloween weekend. Literally,
that was July 4th weekend.
Or digital disco.
Oh, digital disco. Sorry.
It was digital disco, Halloween weekend. I came back from that party and I was like, I literally had the time of my life at my own party.
Yes, that's how it should be. Oh my gosh.
So fun.
It was a lot of
People
fun.
were just dancing like everywhere.
Everybody
like,
had their outfits on. It was dope. It was very dope.
Oh my gosh, my heart is full. Yeah, Mare.
Like, first of all, I want to say that's such a flex when you enjoy like your own like party more than anything else that's going on.
That's
It's
really
like,
what it is. But like we want to do, we
yeah.
want to go to a cool event, or we want to do something like.
and you're literally
whatever.
creating it.
It's like,
Yeah.
let's just curate our own event, you know, because why not?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Curate something that you want to go to yourself.
No,
That's honestly what we're
And
doing.
then we just go.
That's what we're doing.
Well, and we're always here for you to like encourage you guys in case you're ever feeling low about like, you know, refocusing and like making sure that you guys are really doing what you are striving to
We're
do.
here for y'all too.
Always.
Yes.
Always.
Yes, love.
Women support women.
Yes. And you were mentioning earlier, but music.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things you guys are listening to? Please put us on. Please put me on, because I feel like I honestly like with the Amapiano. That was the first for me too. So
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
yeah, please tell us all the things that you're listening to.
You can go first.
This is a loaded question.
This is a very low question.
Um,
We discussed this too beforehand, and
We're like, what am I listening
Yeah.
to? What? Like, looking at my
Anyone
listening history,
new?
like what?
Like anything new?
always.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say
How
like,
you guys are listening to music? Like what?
Okay, I like that
platforms?
question.
I like that question
Yeah.
too. I'd say like where I'm listening to music. I'm a Spotify girl through and through. But yeah, no, I'm a Spotify girl through and through because I'm like just very obsessed with whatever discovery algorithm they have in place. Like I literally last year listened to like 3,000 new artists. I was like, how did I do that? I don't know, but I just like listen to all these different radios and I'm like, what? And I'm listening to music all day. I live alone, so it's just like that silence. Like I can't sit in silence. So I'm just listening to music all day, just like finding new genres of music. But I'd say to answer your next question, I love samba. I love bossa nova, which is a Brazilian jazz.
Educate us, please. Thank you.
It's Brazilian jazz. I'm really obsessed with just Brazil's music and art scene.
Their music
so
scene
much.
is
Like, I'm just so
insane.
it's wild.
Yeah.
But I love samba. It's so peaceful to me. I just like don't know what anyone is saying, but I love it. I love
not
the
at all.
instruments. I love the vocals. So I listen to a lot of bossa nova. I listen to a lot of neo soul. Erykah Badu is my mother. Literally.
Not your mother.
I'm like in her top 0.005% of listeners every
Wow.
year
Oh wow.
for the last 3 years.
That's quite the feat.
It's yeah.
That's quite the feat.
Like I have an Erykah Badu song for every mood that I'm in. Like that's my mother. So anyway, bossa nova, neo soul, international stuff. South Asian music has been like really getting a lot bigger. I grew up on Bollywood music and classical Indian music, but I never thought that I was gonna like see it come into the Western world and like for people to like really enjoy it. And I've been like discovering DJs that are making these fire edits. It's just like Bollywood and Amapiano, Bollywood and baile, Bollywood and R&B, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what? Like this exists? And so I'm like a kid in a candy store right now because I'm like, what about this song? And if this song was paired with that song, like that would just sound so crazy. So shout out No Nazar. They're out in LA. They really are like creating space for South Asians because I've never seen that like kind of representation growing up. So yeah, I'd say like those are some of the genres of music that I'm listening to.
Yeah. And for me, I would say, oh, that's a tough question. So definitely, you know, my piano, like through and through. I'm always trying to stay on top of what's new when it comes to my piano. There's crazy so I'm also I'm on both Spotify and Apple Music. I can't let go of Apple Music.
No.
But I will say, like, if I need to make like a radio station, I'm definitely going to Spotify because it's just much better. So and then also SoundCloud. Those are probably like my top 3 places that I'm listening to music. But also like sometimes YouTube randomly, like for instance, like the balcony mixes and things like that, like boiler rooms, things like that. So I'm like always constantly listening to like DJ mixes. But in terms of music, so right now I've been listening to a lot of like baile or Brazilian funk.
Oh, nice.
That music is so insane.
Never heard it.
Oh, it is.
I'm gonna listen to it when I get home.
It is so
I got you with, like, 5
amazing.
playlists.
It's
Please send it,
so
please.
much fun. Yeah, no, I have like at least the same. I got you with the same amount of playlists too.
My God.
It's just so much fun, and like when you listen to it, especially as an African, you can hear the like more African influences in some of the music and things. And when you listen, like they have baile amapiano edits and things like that that sound crazy.
Insane.
Of course, like R&B, hip hop, all of that. But I've definitely been listening to. I like to listen to a lot of like alternative music. A lot of indie music as well. I've been really discovering a lot more like Black artists who are like in that scene and wave, who are just making like gorgeous, beautiful music that's just very interesting. What else? I've been listening to a lot more like house and Afro house recently a lot as well. UKG, so UK garage music. A lot of more
D&B.
dance, DMB, like just
D&B and jungle.
Jungle, oh my
Have a place in my
gosh,
heart.
I'm getting more and more obsessed with jungle music, like by the day. It's
We're just like
so good.
right, always right.
No,
here.
I was gonna say y'all are in sync.
Yeah, what else? I mean, you listen to anything and everything. That's
Literally
probably what I'm listening
everything.
to like right now. That's probably
Yeah. Names 10 genres.
I know. No, but no.
That's a lifetime of music for some people.
I'm sure.
But yes, I just want to say again, I love you guys. I'm gonna end how we started. I love you guys.
We love you.
Oh, you have one more question? Oh yeah.
I want to quick, before we wrap it up, what is like the future of SWRK?
So the future of
Yes.
SWRK, what do we have in store? We have so much in store. This month is Women's Month, and also the 1-year anniversary of SWRK being a collective. Yes. And so the weekend of March 25th, we have 2 events that we're going to be putting on.
SWRK Takeover, baby.
SWRK Weekend Takeover. So the first will have a pop-up market, and that will feature like all women-owned businesses, and we'll also have the music aspect as well. Looking very excited for that.
Really excited because y'all are hosting
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
party.
The 20-something.
We're in our hosting bag.
Listen, I'm so excited because I just feel
Yes.
like y'all are just gonna bring your like beautiful energy into the space. But yeah, we're just gonna throw a party and just like hold space for all of our friends, our family, our community, and just like celebrate this really beautiful thing that we've created. And I don't know, like we're still trying to figure out where we're gonna go and what we're gonna do, but I think it's like important sometimes to just take breaks and be like, yo, like we're kind of like cool, you know, like why don't we celebrate that? So I'm really looking forward to that because it's gonna be an all-woman lineup.
Yes.
We have Trilake, Bray Mafia, Bast, and Saf, and they're all just fire DJs. Very amazing, so creative, very talented. And so yeah, that's gonna be how we wrap up our SWRK takeover weekend.
What kind of music can we expect at the event? Is it gonna
be everything?
Yeah, it's gonna be everything.
You can't expect anything with SWRK.
Listen, just come.
Yes, we're touching all genres.
Aw, this has been such an amazing talk.
Wait.
Oh, wait.
We still trying to
Yeah, we're still working out the logistics. Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank
to
you for
say
having
some
us.
Tings.
Yes.
It's always a pleasure. Please come back anytime. Where can the people find you guys?
At SWRK Official, you know where we're at on Instagram.
Individual plugs too.
Our Swank, that's my personal account. And then I also have Swank Selects. At Swank Selects, I'm not as active on there. I'm still working on my brand for that specific, I don't even know, collective, whatever I'm trying to do with that, but I'm still working on that. So you can find my personal page at our Swank, 2Ks.
And then for me, my personal page, I'll spell it because I know if I say it, it's not going to be. So J_Bourgeois. So J_BOAKYEWAA. And then you can also follow Groundwork at Groundwork. So GRNDWRK _ as well on both Instagram and Twitter.
Yes, and we'll definitely make sure to link everything down below. Aw, any last words, Abigail?
No last words. I mean, I feel like they said everything that needed to be said. This is the epitome of women excellence. And I'm excited to see where SWRK goes. I mean, they've already done a lot. They're already international. So listen, we up.
We up.
We up. Nothing
Period.
but up.
Period, yes.
Period.
Oh, shameless plug. We're coming back to Ghana, so you know.
Oh, and I'm gonna be there this time. I will be there this time. My ticket will be bought by you guys by the time you guys see this.
I'm gonna start a GoFundMe.
Straight like that, though.
Yeah, those tickets are not
tickets.
looking like 2,600 right now.
Ooh.
Let's get them.
Woo!
I haven't even looked.
Capitalism.
Oh my god.
Anyways, yes. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. If you're listening, if you're watching on YouTube, and yes, it's been the Tings. Say something with the 20-somethings, and have a wonderful morning, evening, whenever you're watching this, viewing this. And yes, bye everyone.
Bye.